Hi everyone, how are you? It's Casey. Today I'm going to show you something new that I'm going to be working on, but before we do that, I just want to say I hope you're feeling well. I hope you are safe wherever you are in the world. Right now it is Friday, March 13th, Friday the 13th, and we have a lot of uncertainty going on in the world, a lot of fear with the virus that's going on. So I wanted to mention a couple things about that as they relate to me. I feel like it's interesting how this virus is affecting pretty much everyone in some way, whether they're sick or not. So for small businesses, it's affecting if people are shopping there. It's affecting getting products that are ordered. So anyway, it's really affecting everyone. For me right now, I'm not having too much impact, but the positive thing that I want to share is I know most of you have heard me talk about Blythe versus Blythe over the years. And the other day, someone posted on Facebook, wow, wouldn't it be nice if there were online doll conventions? And many of us said there's Blythe versus Blythe, which is an online doll convention. So right now, one of the big effects that's happening to collectors and anyone trying to attend conventions is that they're being canceled or postponed. As of right now, there are 2 Blythe conventions that have been canceled or postponed. I have the Pacific Northwest BJD Expo coming up at the end of April. It's looking like that's going to be postponed. So I thought it might be a good time to remind everyone that is having things canceled and disappointments from travel and conventions that Blythe versus Blythe will be coming up again in May, and it's a great way to stay home but still get to have fun and participate in the community. So I'll put information about the next event coming up. You do have to pay to join, and your fees go to the winning artist as well as to cover shipping for prizes. So it's a pretty low cost to make up for a lot of disappointment right now. So I hope you'll check it out. And I will be talking a lot more about Blythe versus Blythe as we get closer. I don't want to make this whole video about that, but I just wanted to mention it right off. So, what I do want to talk about. I was introduced to these dolls. They're called Paola Reina dolls. And like every doll for me, I fell in love with the customs. I'm going to try to put some photos here. They're not my customs, but I want to show you basically what they can look like. My friend Reggie sort of introduced me to them, and the more I keep seeing them, the more I was obsessed with them, and I wanted to do one. So I ordered one from Amazon, and she arrived, so I thought we would take her out and have a look, and I'll let you know what I'm planning to do to customize her. I wasn't really sure what the proportions were going to be. It's always really hard for me to visualize what a doll is going to look like in person as far as size goes. I chose this one because I loved the hair color, so they come in lots of hair colors. I believe there are people that are either putting wigs on them or rerooting them. I'm not sure. So I do really like them with the mohair, but I'm probably going to keep her hair because I love this color so much. But I'll be straightening it and coloring it and doing my thing there. So she kind of smells like, I don't know, like coconut or candy or something. She smells really sweet. They have really sweet faces. This is not the kind of plastic that Blythe is. This is a soft vinyl, I believe. So a doll like this is not really going to be carved because This kind of vinyl doesn't carve very well, so you're just going to be removing the factory coloring and recoloring her. I wasn't super thrilled with the body because it's not jointed, but I really like the proportions, so I don't think I'm going to change the body. I was going to get out some of the bodies that I have here and see what might look good with this head. So with Blythe, there's such exaggerated proportions of the large head and the large eyes. I'm not sure that a thinner or smaller body would look right with this type of head, but I'm going to get out a couple things because I would like her to be jointed. It just makes posing so much easier. But again, I do like the proportions of this body, and it does have some detail that's very nice. Like you can see the little indents in her knees. The fingers are very sweet. So one of the reasons why it took me a while to want to do one of these dolls is because I thought most would be doing them like reborns. I'm going to take a look at her body so you can see her belly sticks out a little bit, more like a child. But everyone that's customizing them, as far as I know, are using the Mr. Super Clear just like we would on Blythe. So when I realized that I wasn't going to need to purchase anything to customize this doll, I was even more interested in doing it. So I hope you'll enjoy this learning process with me. What I'm going to do now is take off her head, and I'm not sure if we're going to have to heat her up to do that. A lot of these kinds of dolls, you need to heat them up. And so I'm going to get prepared to do that. I did order a couple eye options. So I don't know if you can see these factory eyes. They're not horrible, but I really want a darker color or the possibility of using my own eyes. So I have a couple options coming for that. The doll itself I think was around $30 in the end. I don't know if I paid shipping or not, but I think she's around $30 on Amazon. So I'll put a link to the one that I bought if you're interested, and we're going to get started customizing her as soon as we can get her head off and get those eyes and factory coloring removed. So let's get started. Alright, so I looked through the dolls that I have, and the only doll I could find that looked like about the same size is the Shibujuku Girls doll. I have a couple of these left that I still want to customize but just haven't gotten around to. And the body size is about right, and the reason why I like these is they're jointed. But the color is very off and the proportions are very off, and I just don't know that what I really do like about the body is the more childlike proportions, and this body is very thin, and I might consider seeing what it looks like when I have the head off. But the other issue is the very different color, so I really don't want to have to color the body to match. So I think for this first Paola doll, I'm just gonna stick with the original body. I want to be able to paint the hands. There's a lot of detail, fingernails, that I really like. Same with the feet. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. And then as far as the head, I don't think it needs to be heated up. I started to sort of pull on it and it looked like it was gonna come right off, just like that. So we're gonna put the body aside for now and get started on the face. So the first thing is going to be to get the eyes out, because these are plastic eyes, and when we start removing the paint on the face, we're not going to want to get it on the eyes, even though I'm not planning on using those eyes. We don't want to ruin them just in case. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see down in there, but you'll see that the way that the eyes have been inserted, there is plastic covering the back, so they're not going to be super easy to get out. There's a couple options that I've done with dolls like these. One option is to heat up the front of the face and then pop the eyes out. Sometimes that's not possible. or it's not easy to get a grip on them to pop them out. So you do have to cut that plastic back there and pull them out through the back. I don't want to have to do that if at all possible. So because the way that I heat it up is just with a hairdryer, because that process kind of takes a while and is a little bit loud, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll come back when she's ready for the paint to be removed, and we'll get started. Alright, so I got the eyes out. This is what they look like. There was a little bit of glue on them, but what I did is I just took my hairdryer, the vinyl is still a little bit warm, and I put the hairdryer on high and pointed it at the eye. And then when the vinyl was soft, I used this sculpting tool to poke them out the back. I'm not sure when I put the new eyes in if I'll be able to put them in through the front. I also removed her eyelashes. They came off really easily just with tweezers. It's a little bit of glue though. I didn't need to soak her or anything like Blythe. They just came right off. So I'm not sure when I get the new eyes if I'll be able to put them in the front or if I'll need to cut that plastic off in there and put them in through the back. So we'll see. I ordered a couple different eye options. I ordered a pair on Etsy, and then I ordered some supplies to make my own. So we'll see what gets here first, because with this kind of doll where you're not doing any carving, it's actually pretty quick to get one done. First we need to remove her paint and do her face up, and then figure out what we're doing with her hair and body, but then at that point she'll pretty much be done. So anyway, right now we need to remove her factory paint. So a lot of doll makers caution against using acetone, and the problem for me though is I've never been able to find any kind of nail polish remover or really any product that works better than acetone, so that's what I'm gonna use. But when I use acetone, I use the smallest amount possible to remove the paint and then wash it very quickly. So I'm not gonna put it all over her face. I'm just going to do what I can to get it off with as little as possible. So I'm gonna use Q-tips, and if you'll notice, it takes it off really quickly. So let's get all her paint off and we'll get her washed and ready for her face up. Alright, so we've removed all her factory paint and given her a nice hot and soapy wash. So her face is pretty much ready to start the process, except for now we need to pull her hair back and secure it and surround her hair with plastic, so that when we spray her face with Mr. Super Clear, we don't get it on her hair. And a note about hair, there are a couple things you could do with the hair on these dolls. You either could remove this factory hair and reroot it, and I'm thinking if I do another one of these dolls, that's what I will do. It's a little bit harder than a Blythe doll because you actually have to scrape the hair out, so it's a little more like Monster High. And then root it into the holes that are already there. The other option would be to remove this factory hair and put a wig on her, which would be great and a lot faster than rooting it. But I personally don't like wigs a lot because they come off, and so they can be harder to deal with when doing photos. You know, I've shown in previous videos where I put Velcro on them, and that's really helpful. So it's a good option, and it's one I might do in the future, but typically I like to have it actually rooted on the doll, just a preference. But for this doll, we're going to keep her hair because I like the color so much, but we will be cutting it and styling it once her face up is done. So I'm going to get some plastic to put around her hair, and then we'll be ready to spray her. We're going to do a face up just as we would on Blythe. We're going to do a coat of Mr. Super Clear and then start building the color with pastels. I love her ears. They're very detailed and cute. So now that the paint, her factory color is removed, I can see a lot of her sculpting details, and she's super cute. So let's get her prepared and we'll start her face up. Okay, so I've prepped the face and the body. So after washing with really hot soapy water, I have sprayed on a layer of Mr. Super Clear in flat. Here it is. I also have washed and sprayed the body. I covered up the joints with a little bit of Scotch tape. I don't want to get the Mr. Super Clear in the joints because it can flake when you move the arms and legs. And mostly I'm just going to be coloring the feet and the hands anyway. I might add a little bit to the chest, but I'm not going to color the whole body, so it should be fine. So now I'm going to get started with color. I've prepared a palette with some colors, and I'm going to get started painting. I'm not probably going to talk much through the process. I'm just going to let you guys watch, and because it's going to be multiple layers, but when we get close to being done, I'll come back on and let you know how it's going. I don't know that I'm going to be able to finish her in this video because I don't have eyes yet, but we'll see how long this takes and when I can get the video up. So I'll be back. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I've done one layer of paint. You can already see a lot of definition in the body and the face, but I need to now spray another coat. But I've decided that I'm gonna go ahead and just end the video for this week now, because my son is up, and with everything that's going on with the virus, he's home with me, and we're gonna try to go outside and get some fresh air. So I'm probably not gonna be able to work on her more until next week. So hopefully the eyes will arrive by then, as well as we can finish her up in the next video. So thanks as always for watching. I hope you're all staying well and safe, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.